Can a lizard be assistance animal? Well, stick around and I'm going to break down the 3 types of assistance animals covered under the Federal Fair Housing Law. There are 3 different categories of assistance animals, and they are all there to help someone who fits into the definition of disability under the Federal Fair Housing Act. If you want to refresh on disability, check out my video on disability. In order to be considered an assistance animal, it has to fit into one of the 3 categories. The first one is service animal. Service animals are limited to dogs and miniature horses. I know miniature horses sound a little bit crazy, but this is what they look like. The reason why miniature horses are included in the law is because they are hypoallergenic and they have a long life expectancy up to about 25 years. Whereas dogs, unfortunately, might not. In order to be a service animal, the animal has to be trained. They have to have an identifiable relationship with the person, and they have to help the person perform some sort of task. An example could be help a visually impaired person get where they need to go, help a person who's hearing impaired be alerted of noises like fire alarms. There is no registry for service animals, and unfortunately people think that there is, and they say, I want to see its papers. There are no papers. In fact, the law says that the only thing you're allowed to ask to a person is, what task does the animal help you perform? So if someone claims that they're bringing an animal into a no-pet building, and you say no pets, and they say it's not a pet, it's a service animal, if their impairment is obvious, shut up. Don't even ask any questions. When Stevie Wonder comes in, shut your mouth. He's allowed to have a service animal. But if it's not obvious, you are allowed to ask one question, and that is this: what task does the animal help you perform? That's it. There's no, what's wrong with you? Can I see your medical records? Can I see its papers? Because they don't exist, and the law says you're not allowed to ask. The next category is called ESA. ESA stands for Emotional Support Animal. An ESA could be any animal. It could be a lizard, it could be a peacock, it could be a turtle. It doesn't matter. It just has to have an identifiable relationship with the person. It doesn't have to be trained, and there are no registries for ESAs. The only thing that you're allowed to ask if someone claims that their animal is an ESA is, no problem. Can you please provide documentation from a healthcare provider that the ESA is necessary? That's it. Not, what's wrong with you? Can I see your medical records? Why do you need a frog? A therapy animal is the 3rd type. And a therapy animal is an animal that is trained to provide comfort to others, not to the person, but to others. So think someone brings a dog into a children's hospital or an old age home or a burn center and takes this dog around to give comfort to others. Therapy animals are not protected under fair housing because they are not necessary for the person who has the animal unless that person is disabled and the therapy animal is also their assistance animal. So there are 3 categories of assistance animals: service animal and ESA, which are both protected under the Federal Fair Housing Law, and therapy animals, which are not. When an animal is protected under the Federal Fair Housing Act, it is important that you understand they are not pets. You cannot call them pets because they are not pets. You cannot charge a pet deposit. You cannot charge an extra security deposit. There's no pet rent. There's no pet fee. Don't even call them pets because guess what? They're not pets. They're protected under Federal Fair Housing. So if you get confused, I want you to think of this. A service animal does a service its owner. It helps them do something. It's of service. An ESA is an emotional support animal. They're there for emotional support, not a service. They don't do anything. They're just support. You lay on them, you hug them, they make you feel better. A therapy animal is not protected under Federal Fair Housing. And when you're thinking therapy animal, think therapy like therapy's optional. Somebody might tell you to go to therapy, but you don't have to go if you don't want to. It's the same thing with a therapy animal. You can have a therapy animal if you want, but you don't have to. It's not something that's going to help you get the full use and enjoyment of the dwelling. The whole purpose for allowing any kind of assistance animal is so that the person with the disability can have the full use and enjoyment of the dwelling. And that's what the fair housing law is there to protect. So break it down. Remember, service animals provide a service. Emotional support animals provide emotional support. It's right there in the title. And therapy is optional. I bring it in to help other people or not help other people. I don't need the animal. I don't need the dog. So I'm not going to be protected under fair housing. This is something that is not rocket science. It's in the title, yet it can be confusing, and I know that. So watch this video again, and if you get stuck, get my study pack. It's got flashcards with audio files, video files, practice tests, and we're always adding to it. No matter what, no matter how stuck you feel, I promise you that you can pass this test. You just have to keep going. It is 100% in your power. I will see you in the next video. If you have any suggestions or questions that you want covered in another video, put them in the comments below.